Trump's cover-up of the Epstein files and his involvement just got even worse and even more brazen. Donald Trump is actively deleting photos and documents where he's mentioned from the Epstein files. I'm serious. The House Oversight Democrats, who have been fantastic on the topic of Epstein, they subpoenaed the Epstein estate. They're releasing the photos that they get from the Epstein estate. They posted this morning, quote, "This photo, file 468 from the Epstein files that included Donald Trump, has apparently now been removed from the DOJ release. At Pam Bondi, is this true? What else is being covered up? We need transparency for the American people." I'm going to get into the story and more. Make sure to subscribe down below, drop a like on the video, comment. Let me know what you think about the story. Let me know what you think about the files. Without further ado, I just want to look at this photo first. You've probably seen this photo by now. It's the mantle in Jeffrey Epstein's New York City mansion. It's the shrine where he kept all of these photos of him and famous people. You have the Pope there on the left. You have Bill Clinton there on the right and other people. But people, once they saw this photo, immediately noticed that in the drawer that you can see, there's a photo that we've all seen of Trump, Melania Trump, Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell. That photo has been public for a very long time. But if you zoom in even more on the bottom left, this photo is kind of grainy. It's not the most high definition version. That man in the white shirt surrounded by women is Donald Trump. That's a photo we've never seen before. It's a photo that was not included in the Epstein files. So once people saw this, obviously it's incredibly alarming. And then that photo disappeared. As they mentioned in the House Oversight Democrats tweet, or the post on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Dataset 1 files used to include this photo, now no longer. If you go between right here, between files 467 and 469, that 468 photo where Donald Trump was with all of those women in that photo that we zoomed in on was right there. It was file 468. Now it's gone, completely disappeared. And the photos around it have nothing to do with Donald Trump or Epstein's mantle with all of those photos. You have a note where I believe he's talking about girls, super creepy, super gross. And then the photo 469 is what seems to be pictures from perhaps one of Epstein's properties. They completely erased the photo. And Adam Cochran went into it saying proof the DOJ just deleted one of the files they released that contained Trump. Yesterday, file 468 was shown to have a picture of Trump that they missed. We know this because it was downloadable yesterday, as can be seen in my local copy. And you can see that it was there. It was right between 6.7 and 6.9. And there are many other examples of this, of them jumping dozens of numbers from 1 to 50. And there's no explanation for why they did it. But it was there yesterday, 468. Of course it was. We have this photo. As of this morning, the DOJ site no longer lists the file, and it's even inaccessible directly. So if you even try to click on it, if you have the link still, it's gone. You can't do it. This is what it comes up with, that it does not appear to have any style information associated with it. The document tree is shown below, and it just says access denied. You can no longer access it if you're just an American citizen who wants transparency. He said, to ensure this wasn't a data error, I re-downloaded the entire data set to see if the file still existed there. It doesn't. If you download the full archive this morning, it skips over file 468 entirely. It is gone. This is after the ridiculous claims by the DOJ spokesperson that no politically exposed persons were redacted or withheld, and redaction reasons were provided for every withholding. All of that is not true. We know that Donald Trump has been withheld. We know that they're actively scrubbing the files for Donald Trump. Picture 468, of course, contains no identifiable victims, photos that were already public, no police or intelligence techniques, no abuse material, no national security secrets. Therefore, there is no legal reason to remove the file under the act, yet Donald Trump and the Department of Justice did. And I also want to point out that it's not just this, it's not just them removing files. The cover-up is wide-ranging. Yes, they're deleting files. Yes, they removed this photo that included Donald Trump, but also, according to Scott MacFarlane, a journalist at CBS, at least 550 pages in the Epstein file documents are fully redacted. That doesn't even count the other ridiculous redactments that we've seen in other photos that have been released. 550 pages fully redacted. Where's the transparency there? They're trying to claim the most transparent administration in American history, but 550 pages fully redacted that we can't see, that they provided no explanation for, no reason as to why they redacted it. And there's a couple of things that they let fall through the cracks that I believe are still in the Epstein files. Like, for example, this Jane Doe, who, when she was 14, was introduced to Donald Trump by Jeffrey Epstein. In her complaint for damages against Epstein, it says under 17, during one of Doe's encounters with Epstein, he took her to Mar-a-Lago, where he introduced her to its owner, Donald J. Trump. Introducing 14-year-old Doe to Donald J. Trump, Epstein elbowed Trump playfully, asking him, referring to Doe, "This is a good one, right?" Trump smiled and nodded in agreement. They both chuckled, and Doe felt uncomfortable, but at the time was too young to understand why. That's two grown men, the current president of the United States and one of the worst criminals in American history, joking about a 14-year-old girl being a good one. It is stomach churning. It is disgusting, but that is who Donald Trump is. That is who Donald Trump's best friend was, and they can't erase this from the files. We have it now, so they can scrub it. They can scrub whatever they want. They are the ones in power, unfortunately. They can scrub it, but this stuff is in the public domain. We have this photo, and the cover-up is so brazen, it's so illegal, and it cannot be accepted under any circumstance. Of course, they also forgot to scrub this, which is Epstein holding that check that Donald Trump gave him for $22,500 for buying a fully depreciated woman that we covered on this show yesterday. They can't yet, or at least they haven't scrubbed it yet. I just pulled it up for this story in the on the files. If you want to look it up yourself to keep checking if they do, it's file 3933. So you can look it up yourself. Let me know if they've scrubbed it. And it's also gross how the White House is kind of trying to do damage control right now. They're trying to distract from, them scrubbing the files, Donald Trump not being mentioned, their obvious cover-up. Abigail Jackson, a spokesperson for the White House, said, per the Epstein Files Transparency Act, the DOJ was specifically instructed only to redact the faces of victims and minors. Here's a picture of Bill Clinton with his arm around Michael Jackson and redacted individuals. Problem is that photo has already been public. They're trying to say that Michael Jackson or Bill Clinton was doing something wrong in this photo, when in reality, it was just Michael Jackson's kids who they were with. And the DOJ redacted it, probably for the right reason, because, you don't want kids' faces being involved in this, keep it out. That's no problem. But the White House acting like this, behaving like this, trying to implicate them or saying that, oh, it's, redacted individuals, they're victims or minors, is disgusting. It's a complete distraction. Now, the final thing I want to cover is the question is, okay, so what are we going to do about it, right? We can rage about the files being deleted. It is disgusting. It is rage-worthy. But how are we going to respond? Well, Representative Ro Khanna, one of two people behind the bill, answered that question on CNN last night, and I think you should take a listen. Watch.
Attorney General Pam Bondi. Some Democrats are saying she should resign, including Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Are you considering impeachment for the Attorney General if you don't feel that the Justice Department complies with your law?
Thomas Massie and I talked about it. He's working, as am I, on drafting articles of impeachment and inherent contempt. We haven't decided whether to move it forward yet, but we're in the process of doing it. And look, the problem that the Attorney General has, if you just look at the comments to our social media feed, is the amount of MAGA influencers who are upset with her. And the issue for her is not, are there going to be 212 Democrats who would support it? The issue for her is how many Republicans and MAGA supporters would support it. So my hope, because my hope has never been about Pam Bondi getting justice or Todd Blanche getting justice. My hope is she looks at this. She looks at the outrage that MAGA has. She looks at the disappointment that the survivors have, and she makes a decision over the next 2 weeks to actually start releasing these documents, because she may lose more Republicans in the House than she anticipates.
That's right. I think she will. I think this is a awful issue politically for the Republicans, rightfully so, because they're engaging in a blatant cover-up. They're giving a middle finger to the victims, slapping them in the face, pretending that they don't matter, and they're insulting the intelligence of the American people. They're deleting files in front of us. They're redacting entire pages. They are not following the law. It's gross. It's gross. And so when we talk about impeachment, of course, it's a hard effort. It's difficult. You have to get a majority in the House of Representatives, 2/3 in the Senate. It's a difficult process. But I don't think it's out of reach, really, when it comes to Pam Bondi in this, because the American people are so fed up. That's why the pressure, keeping the pressure on Trump and Pam Bondi in this administration is so crucial, because these senators, these members of the House, they're going to be looking. They're going to be looking at their own polls. They're going to be looking at what people are concerned about. They're going to be reading the messages left on their phones, and they're going to be concerned. Look, I'll leave the video there. I just cannot believe the brazen corruption that we are all witnessing here with these files being deleted. But make sure to subscribe down below, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. And as I always say, I greatly